resilient varieties that have been developed for cultivation, and it shows the crops, the varieties that have been developed in those crops, as well as the stress for which they show tolerance and the recommended area of their cultivation. So we can see like this is the maize varieties, certain maize varieties such as Suvan, Nithishri, HM4, Birsa Makka 1, drone hybrid, etc., have been developed that shows considerable drought tolerance and can be grown in different climatic zones of cultivation of maize. And then certain varieties have also been developed in maize, which shows tolerance to delayed monsoon condition or tolerance to flooding in submergence, and can be grown in such areas. Then pearl millet is also an important crop that is basically grown in the rain-fed areas, which are devoid of irrigation practices. And there are certain varieties like WCC 75, NBH 5061, PBH 306 hybrid, etc., which are recommended for different area of their cultivation and shows substantial amount of drought tolerance. And so also varieties in pearl millet with respect to tolerance to delayed monsoon conditions have also been developed. Then a number of different other coarse millets such as for foxtail millet, finger millet, little millet, kodo millet, different varieties have been developed that shows tolerance to aberrant environmental conditions. And similarly, in case of barnyard millet and sorghum, also certain varieties have been developed. Then basically chickpea and pigeon pea are the main crops, legume crops, which are grown under rain-fed cultivation condition in India, and different varieties with respect to chickpea have been developed, which shows drought tolerance. And the varieties, certain varieties also shows tolerance to delayed monsoon and flooding or submergence. In case of pigeon pea, also a number of different varieties such as VL Arhar 1 and ICPL 87, Naren Arhar 1, etc., have been developed that shows resistance to drought condition and can be grown in different agroclimatic zones or areas of cultivation. While certain varieties such as Asha, BRG2, etc., also shows tolerance to delayed monsoon condition. Similarly, in case of rapeseed and mustards, also this is also one of the most important crop that is grown in the rain-fed area in India, and a number of different varieties which are resistant to drought conditions, which are tolerant to delayed monsoon conditions, have been developed in this as well. Groundnut again is another oilseed crop that is grown in the rain-fed conditions in area, and certain varieties such as JGN3, JGN23, LGN, and 1K134 have been developed that shows resistant to drought condition, while resistant to delayed monsoon condition have been shown by varieties such as JGN3, JGN23, etc. Then soybean, again, a number of different varieties have been developed that are resistant to drought condition, tolerant to delayed monsoon condition. In case of sunflower too, a number of varieties have been identified which shows resistant to drought and delayed monsoon. This shows that cultivation of the climatically resilient varieties provides the effective mitigation for climate change and therefore must be promoted. And also this is one of the most cost-effective measures that can be taken in order to mitigate the effect of climate change and reduce its effect on the crop yield. So therefore, the cultivation of climatically resilient varieties must be promoted, as well as interventions must be done in order to identify certain other varieties for certain other areas in which such sort of stress is like common. So that is all from my side. Thank you so much for your patience hearing.
Many thanks, Dr. Anjali. It has been a very detailed scientific analysis with the data crunching on the impact of climate change, especially in the context of rainfall, how it impacts food production. You have shared a detailed list of climate resilient food crops which can be taken up. Friends, we'll be sharing the presentation by Dr. Anjali, and we will also have a Q&A after presentation by all the thematic experts. Now let me invite Gidiga Goswami, who is the Associate Vice President and Lead Policy Research and Planning at Development Alternatives, New Delhi. With more than 2 decades in the environment and development sector, Gidiga has been leading the policy and planning domain, covering verticals like climate change resilience, inclusive development, sustainable consumption and production, with a mandate to influence and support public policy towards sustainable development. Gidiga has been associated with several national and international fora, including the UN, various UN forums and processes, the COP process, UN Framework on Climate Change, Adaptation Fund Board, BORN, Natural Capital Working Group under Green Growth Knowledge Platform at Washington and Paris, and many others. She has worked with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, UNDP, and many others. It is a great privilege to have Gidiga today. And for your information, Gidiga is also involved with the present G20 processes also. Welcome, Gidiga. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anil. And it's really a great privilege to be here and present the work of development alternative in this fora. And I'm really happy to see there's a 98 participants. And so from my presentation, I will share development alternatives work in the adaptation and mitigation sector. Anil, I think there is I cannot share. I think the other
yes,
can the other
make you the co-host.
Yeah.
You are the co-host now. Share.
But here I can see one participant can share at a time. Is it that the other presentation is still on? Can you see my screen?
Yes, visible.
Okay, okay, great. Yeah. So, just a minute. So my presentation is all about the climate change adaptation and mitigation strategies, insights from development alternatives work in Bundelkhand, especially for the adaptation part, and mitigation. I will talk about the other work and other sectors where we are working. I don't know, it's not moving.
Yes.
The content, yeah. So this is the brief structure of this presentation. So first, before I start on the adaptation part, I'll just very briefly talk about the group, development alternative group. Then the climate change adaptation strategies from DS experience, some case examples, and then climate change mitigation strategies, case studies from Bihar and other states, and mitigation strategies, some selected mitigation sectors. So development alternative, our vision is a world where every citizen can live a secure, healthy, and fulfilling life in harmony with nature. Our mission is to deliver and promote scalable solutions that enable resilient economies for everyone, especially the vulnerable communities, women, farmers, and youth. Our goal is build resilient future together. This is the journey so far. So we started at 1982. We just completed 40th year. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary. So this is the decade-wise main outcome of the work. I'm not going in detail, but I will share the presentation. You can have a look. This is the impact area. So we work in clean and green environment. We work in empowering communities. We work in income generation opportunities. So these numbers are especially the impact numbers. Now coming to our what we do, strategic impact areas. We, as everybody knows, I think our previous speakers already mentioned that currently we are going through a very challenging environment. We are having three main challenges that the humanity is facing. One is the lack of resources, lack of livelihoods, and climate change. These three, to address all these three challenges and to develop climate adaptive solutions for livelihoods and to address the lack of resources, we work at length on the sustainable livelihood. And on this sustainable livelihood basically falls under the three impact areas. So the first challenges that we are addressing, the livelihood challenges that we are addressing through empowering local entrepreneurs for creating business, generating jobs, and deliver basic needs. The second challenge is the resource challenge, the lack of resources. So how we are addressing, we are working on resource efficiency and circular economy. We are accelerating the transition to inclusive and circular model of production and consumption, which can reduce carbon emission and material footprint across the life cycle, which can also promote local value and wealth creation. We are also the another most important part is that climate change, which is, as this is the forum on discussing climate change, we are working on climate resilience and ecosystem restoration, where we are trying to generate degraded ecosystem to build resilience to climate change and extreme events, and enhance institutional and community capabilities and generating prosperity. Now, so this is the approach that we have taken so far. Innovation at any innovation could be in business model, could be in the secondary resources, this type of innovation. We are also working on incubation, implementation, and influence through policy and advocacy. These are the settlement, green energy, sustainable agriculture, safe water, climate resources, sustainable enterprise, empowering communities, and decent work. These are our footprint in India. So mainly the Bundelkhand, you can see this is the area in the central part of India. It's called Bundelkhand, 7 districts of MP. This is our karma. We started working in Bundelkhand like 3 decades before, and we are working with the communities directly here in areas which you can see the Odisha, Karnataka, and Gujarat, Rajasthan, UP, Bihar. Our presence is there, but we are working with the partners. So a global footprint. We are mainly and South America. So now coming to the main part of it. So as I think Anil has already mentioned about what are the climate vulnerabilities in India. India is the seventh large country in the world, home to more than 1.3 billion people, and contains diverse ecosystem and culture from Himalayas to down south. Around 47% of the population of India is dependent on agriculture as their main livelihood. And India faces some of the highest disaster risk levels in the world. India is ranked 29 out of 191 countries in terms of disaster. India has very high exposure to flooding, including riverine flood, flash flood, and coastal flood, as well as high exposure to tropical cyclone and their associated hazards and drought. Climate change is a major challenge for India, threatening to enhance risk already elevated by the high level of social vulnerability and climate vulnerability. this is you can see in the pie chart, the maximum hazard we face is a flood, almost kind of 45%. Then this is a storm, and this storm is mainly because of this. We have this huge, maximum length of the coastal belt, and we have a lot of cyclone there, and it's also around 35%, and rest you can see extreme temperature, wildlife loss, drought, earthquake, and epidemics. Now coming to the issues, issues and challenges that climate change adaptation, challenges of climate change adaptation in India. These are the different challenges of climate vulnerabilities. Basically, the recurring drought, erratic rainfall, delay in monsoon rain, heavy rainfall in some days causing soil erosion and partial drought, frequent unseasonal fog and loss of crop yield, repeated cyclone and destruction of mangroves in the coastal areas, saltwater inundation and affecting the agriculture, aquaculture, freshwater resources, and human habitation, loss of biodiversity due to overfishing and or environmental pollutions. Socioeconomic vulnerabilities. Due to these climatic vulnerabilities, there are huge socioeconomic vulnerabilities that are very much visible here. Food, fodder, and fuel insecurity, water scarcity across countries, massive deforestation, dependency on the moneylender, lot of migration, lack of proper knowledge and adoption of inappropriate technologies and partial and practices of soil and wastewater management, ecological agriculture, and lack of alternative source of income. These are the socioeconomic vulnerabilities. With this, I am just saying, I will show some of these slides, what is the ground voice. This is in south, down south. There, the main problem, the coastal areas, is the saltwater intrusion in the pond affecting the aquaculture, which is the main livelihood of these communities. Then this is from Rajasthan. This is a small girl, Jyoti. What she says, her testimonial is that, well, water is polluted. When well dries up, she travels more than 1 kilometer to fetch water from the stream. When stream dries up, she digs pit nearby to fetch water, and that impacts her health, education, and sanitation behavior. And when, as we all know, in India, when there is a scarcity of water, and then the girls and the women are mainly responsible for each of the families to fetch water, and most of the cases it happens that the girls actually misses their schools. Here, these communities of women members of these people, of the families in Rajasthan, they are saying that the summer are hotter than before and winter are shorter. We use clothes to filter the water, and a lot of the water is also polluted there, and their sanitation problem, they are saying, because they don't have a safe sanitation. Then if we now just looking at these problems, if we do a kind of a mapping and of the monthly drought, I can give one example from the West Bengal, where you can see the same district. You can see in the month of July, August, and September, you can see in the right side, there is this legend where even in July, sometimes the rainfall is very huge, extreme wet, the southern part of this district. But in August, you could see that there is also a drought. And in September, the partial drought in August, and September, this is a complete drought. And why this is happening? This is happening because when we have this rain, it's a very huge rain in a very short period of time. There are a lot of soil erosions happens, and then in after 2 months of these rain, this area is completely become a drought-prone areas. So this kind of hazards is actually very difficult to really people have their crops or in the field. And so I am here will now coming to the areas where and how what are the different strategies that we can take, that's how we can really reduce that hazard and can also get our agriculture crops at the same time. Here you can see there are what are the different strategies of the climate change adaptation. The first thing is mainly in the drought prone areas, watershed management is traditionally being done, and almost in all states we are working on the watershed management, which can actually help to reduce the sorry, to reduce the rain, the washing away of the soil moisture and soil erosion. Then we are working on sorry. So under the watershed management also there are several check dams that's been made, which became the water harvesting structures, and which can benefit, through which the groundwater ditches also happen, and because of the soil moisture also improves, which helps people to have their second crop where it is completely impossible. Without many of the cases, it happens that in drought prone areas, people can only take one crop during the monsoon or the kharif season, but rabi generally they do not get crops. But if you have this watershed management work, and if you have your soil moisture till there in the winter season, you can very easily get a rabi crop as well. This is sustainable agriculture, where we are actually looking at diversifying agriculture practices into the same area. We are having crop as well as the horticulture species, so you can have double income. At the same time, in many places we can also have in the vegetable cultivation, which can also enable people to not only have their nutrition, also they can sell the excess one, and which can actually give them a better livelihoods, all alternative livelihoods. So these are some of these. So climate adaptive planning, that's most important when we have a very drought prone areas. Climate adaptive planning also shows that how you should plan, how much area you should take for a particular crop, which crop you should choose. It should not be like water thirsty crop, so rice could be avoided, but we can have millets, we can have other less water intensive crops as well. So that's the climate adaptive planning, and it actually helps a lot for people to have their livelihoods secured. Then at the same time, it's very important to have forest management, which can really result in the biodiversity conservation. And when there is a forest, that forest can help you to have the soil intact, and can reduce the soil erosion, even if there is a heavy rainfall. When we have all these, you really should have the food and livelihood security. So now lessons from the field. So I will show some of these examples of how we can really reduce all these irregularities. And so there is also, along with all these agriculture planning and adaptive planning, this example shows that how we can really working with the communities and really in drought prone areas having a maximum livelihood improvement. So this is one thing that we have done. We did this through a participated land use and land cover mapping, and we have helped us, the communities, to map out their vulnerabilities. Here, this is a local language they have written. It's in Bengali. So here, in this matrix, they have drawn which is the most important challenges that they faced. And through this, it has been observed that drought is the major hazard that they have faced, and that is why the food and livelihood security was a major hazard. So this through these kind of mapping, we can really come up with what exactly the strategies that we should take up in what condition. This shows the learning and developing science from people's knowledge. Slides got stuck. Yes. So these are some of the water harvesting structures that was built to address those kind of drought challenges. So here you can see the well, different water. This is the well. The first one is the left side is a well that's been made. Then there is a pond. This is a stay ponds. Stay ponds actually helps people to have water whenever, I mean, as much as possible. If you have a stay pond, your area of exposure to the sunlight of the pond will reduce, and then the transpiration also reduce. So even if in the hottest time, still there is some water that's available there in those ponds. Then you have here in the right hand corner, you can see this is called hapa. This is also in the undulating areas like Bankura, Purulia, and Bundelkhand. We have this, it's called horizontal seepage. And if you really dug a small pit, you can see that in the night, this, sorry, anyone is saying something? So you can see that the water gets accumulated during the night time, and then people can irrigate the water in the morning. And again, this, if you completely pumped out this water from these small water harvesting structure, evening also again is filled up, and you can have another irrigation in the evening. So it's something, a very traditional knowledge, but we have made it a little scientific, make this pit little more deeper so that more water can be accumulated. You have adaptation benefits through these interventions. These women, they are from their word, they have said that this, because of these water harvesting structures, they get several types of the alternative cropping practices, and that's why their availability of food, fodder, and fuel has increased. Nutritional status of the family has been improved through diversification of the food basket, and incomes of the farmer families increased, and migration also reduced. I am now coming to very briefly talking about in Bundelkhand, one case study called nature-based solution. Here we have implemented a participatory watershed management and integrated solution for improving the livelihood of the vulnerable communities. This is a district is called Datia, where there was the same societal problem that there is seasonal river, very heavy runoff, and the water scarcity and long dry spell, and low groundwater infiltration and migration to nearby cities. Here you can see we have taken 10 villages where 59% of the SC population, and taking the strategies of the nature-based solutions, especially the environmental engineering, environment-based ecosystem-based adaptation, green infrastructure, ecosystem-based management. We come up with this strategy. Using these strategies, we have seen. We have come. So benefits of these nature-based solution is that out of these 10 villages, 8 villages in Datia district identified this has helped 71,000 cubic meter of rainwater harvesting done. Approximately 100 hectares of the non-productive land in 4 villages brought under the productive uses of cultivation of vegetables, enhancement of the cropping intensity, and induction of the new crop to the cropping system. So that helps the food security. Then also since the improved water for agriculture, leading to about 30% enhancement of their average income of the farmer household, which also through these NBS, new model of diversified farming practices adopted by the farmers such as agri-horticulture, hortipasture, vegetable cultivation in a very scientific manner. There's also water security when built, because you have 0.48 meters were recorded. The rainfall, the groundwater level recorded 0.48 meters, and 78 wells and 7 villages in this watershed between this time 2011 to 2013. And quality of the water supply improved in 2 villages through solar-based pipe drinking water system. So that's enhanced the water security of that area. Then we have there is also improvement in the biodiversity, because 60-hectare land brought under the tree outside forest and 200 hectare in convergence with the forest department, resulting in enhancement of the agri-biodiversity of the region. The vegetation cover in the areas have improved, which could contribute to the improvement of the carbon storage. So that also shows that through NBS improved the biodiversity of that area. Then community institution and partnership also built. Since you have the agriculture, you have good produce, you have good water condition, the local governments also strengthened that the whole 500 plus farmers members have been mobilized to farmer producer organization. Water state committees been empowered to take decision on the maintenance, distribution, and setting norms for equitable use of resources. Integration and collaboration at government and national level also happened, along with the academic and research partnership. Along with that, there's also recreational and educational research also have increased. We could attract researchers from several places from India and abroad, who came and did their research in that areas, also published paper. Now coming to the mitigation. So this is all what I said till now was the adaptation practices. Now I will talk about some of the mitigation strategies in India. As you all know, there is in Bihar, we are working on a green brick sector. It's called, so what is a green brick, first of all? So as you all know, the brick is a building block of the housing of our habitats, but that mainly in India we use, earlier it used to be only red brick. Now it has been changed a bit. So red brick was all made up of soil, which is the topsoil, and which is a very fertile soil in case of like Bihar, because that's a Gangetic floodplain. And therefore, there are high chances of degrading the soil and losing the good agriculture soil, and therefore the agriculture. So what we did is and also Bihar is having 7 thermal power plants, and there also the byproduct is ash, and since it flies, it is called fly ash. And that fly ash used to be a pollutant a decade back. And we then started working with some of these technological institutes and come up with this, also working with the NTPCs, the National Thermal Power Plant. And we have come up with one technology, it's called fly ash brick. So how we can, when, in the power plant itself, we actually put a plant where it can condense all the ashes in one place. And then we made the brick out of that with some other component as well, with some cement and water and those different technologies that's available. And we made that brick, and that brick actually is a wonder product, because it's not only taking soil, the topsoil, so you are actually saving the topsoil. It's also not burnt, because in the red brick, it has to be burnt, and that lot of carbon emission happens. But in fly ash bricks, it has not been burnt, so you can actually saving carbon emission. And also it's a byproduct, and you are not, and also it's a pollutant. And so if you don't really do something out of it, it will pollute the environment. So these 3 things we have kind of work together. And we also at the same time provided that this particular technology to many of the community people, and they made their small enterprise out of this. So actually 4 types of benefits that we could get from the fly ash break. So that's also a kind of a mitigation, because agriculture is the backbone of Bihar's economy, generating 24.84% of the state's domestic product and giving employment to 77% of the state's workforce. And so therefore, if we could save the agriculture soil, we can actually not only contributing to the GDP as well as reducing the carbon emission and so on, which I described just now. And so I already described. So with this, we have also done a lot of policy advocacy. We also worked with the state government. They have then come up with a notification that all the government buildings will only be made from the fly ash brick, and there will be no use of the red brick. Now there are a lot of youngsters, young generationers now coming up. They come to us. They want to have their new, they want to start with the enterprise, and they want to start as a clean and green enterprise, and fly ash is nothing like it. So this is, that's why we call it green brick. We are also working a lot on the plastic sector, which is also a very harmful, as we all know, the plastic menace and the plastic era. And we are working, so therefore we're working in 4 sectors in the to reduce the plastic waste and to make a circular economy business out of that. We are working with the policymaker for that extended producer responsibility EPR. We are working for the circular business model, which is already there in informal sector, but we are trying to make it more formalized one to actually reduce the emission from carbon emission as well as the pollution. We are working with the communities and industry and public sector, and small community enterprises are also coming up. Like in Assam, there is a school, it's called Akshara School, where the school fees is only the plastic. If you can give them the single-use plastic bag, that will be your fees of that school. So it's some of the very extraordinarily innovative approaches that is there all across India. We try to just accumulate all these together, and we have come up with a strategy paper, and how even the communities can also make a difference in the society on this and make awareness of the plastic menace. Then we are also working at the same time the behavior change, and this behavior changes across from communities, from consumer to the big corporates as well. So if we really we can avoid the multi-layer plastic like chips packet and so on, we can actually do great on reducing the plastic waste. Then other than plastic and fly ash, we are also working some of the other sectors to reduce the carbon emission and to make it a circular business economy. We are working with the wastewater sector as well. You can see this is the photographs. That's the municipality, the water and the emission from the pipe water supply, and the leakages. There are lots of leakages that happens. We try to map out that. We are working with several municipalities on that water use efficiency, as well as reduce the emission from the water supply. We are also working on another cement called LC3. It is also called a green cement, basically made up of, you all know the cement is made up of limestone, and limestone, it requires, when we need to make cement, we have to do a lot of mining of the limestone. But this LC3 cement is coming up from already waste limestone. No new mining is required. Just using the waste limestone, which is there as an overburden around the mining areas, you can make this new cement. A lot of the cement industries are now working with us, like Holcim and others, and this is a great innovation in the cement sector, which is the most pollutant in terms of the carbon emission. And there are also another is called construction and demolition waste. which is also another very important part of our city's life, because as you know, India is really urbanizing in a very fast pace. A lot of new construction is coming up. Along with that, the old construction is being demolished, and then this demolition material, it is important how we can really, and because of this demolition, a lot of pollution also happens. And our work is basically to work with the construction demolition waste, and how to use this demolition waste into a circular business, circular economy business, as well as providing livelihoods to the local community. So these are some of the mitigation areas that we are working. And yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Many thanks, Geetika. You have provided a very comprehensive understanding of climate change, adaptation, and mitigation issues, well-grounded on development alternatives, work across India. You have cited several examples, shared models, and informed us how important it is to have a climate adaptive planning. Geetika also shared how climate change related vulnerabilities are adding to the existing vulnerabilities of women and girls, especially girls. Thank you so much for joining us in this important section today. And we will have a separate Q&A section after the presentation by Mr. Proshin Ghosh also. Now let me invite Mr. Proshin Ghosh. Proshin is the lead climate change adaptation programs at Interglobal Social Service Society, Delhi. He is a community development practitioner addressing climate change crises in vulnerable communities. Proshin has been engaged in identifying climate change risk and developing appropriate coping mechanisms for resilience. He is the innovator of Urban Disaster Risk Reduction Model, which is incubated in 13 project cities across India. Proshin will share about climate change matrix tool and participatory vulnerability mapping in today's technical consultation. And let me welcome Proshin Ghosh. The floor is yours.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible, Anil?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So thank you everyone to be here. Basically, today's my presentation. Anil, can I share the screen?
Sure. Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay. Great.
Keep it full screen, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So basically, today I'll discuss about some participatory tools. As Anil said, that we IGSS team had developed a lot of participatory tools, a couple of tools which are entirely related to climate change emergency, to address this climate change emergency issues, especially in the urban poor community, that is in the slums. So basically, till now, we have discussed about the rural aspects even. So now this is something different, that is in totally urban aspect and with the urban poor community. So next slide is, yeah. So basically, when we are going to slum, basically we face such situation, that is most of the community members ignore, few behave like we are alliance, very few come forward, unwanted interference of local political, kya kar rahe hai aap log yahan pe, kya chahiye, kyun aa rahe hai, local mafias. Then some women are forced by family members not to involve with our team despite of their interest. Basically ऐसा ही होता है, कोई अगर फिल्म में बस्ती में जाए तो इस तरीका का सिचुएशन का फेस करना पड़ता है पहली बार, एकदम शुरुआत में, एकदम फर्स्ट टाइम when anybody go to the field or go to the slums, because slum people, first of all, that slum is a totally heterogeneous population, and secondly that everybody is very busy in the cities. So youth are stopped by their parents just like you parai chhod ke ja rahe ho. Dormant participations of local administration. Then most of the community members have no knowledge and interest on municipal budgetary allocation. Even few are aware about of their role and responsibility. Local ward sabha. कहीं पे ward sabha क्या है कोई जानता ही नहीं. Political biases in municipal budgetary allocation. Misappropriation of municipal funds is a very frequent thing. Then ambiguous understanding on climate emergency by the admin representatives means low priority to climate emergency. So this is the thing. We are far from the climate change emergency because our local ULBs, that is the local urban bodies, are not very aware, or even they are aware. These are the reasons they are not putting this climate change emergency in their municipal budgetary allocations. So now the question is that okay, just a minute. So actually the thing is that my heading is not coming in this presentation. I'm not sure. Probably there is a heading bar in this. I can move this. Sure, probably. Anyway, so basically, if we see that that any if we see about any climate resilient settlement, so this is an innovation, and basically this was a dream of IGSS a couple of years ago, a climate resilient slum. And if we so think about a climate resilient slum, so there are different types of innovations we will play in the slum. And since 3-4 years, IGSS is working in 13 cities in 260 slums to make a climate resilient slum, climate resilient settlement. So basically, we are doing a lot of. We are applying a lot of tools. We are doing a lot of models which are incubating basically in the slum. So I'm not saying about the models because today is the topic is the tools, participatory tools. So I'm just discussing about the tools. So within those tools, the 3 tools are very much correlated with climate emergency. So the first one is climate change matrix tool. The second one is urban disaster risk reduction tool, and the third one is climate change impact on gender tool. So these tools are basically when we discover and when we conceptualize and prepare these tools, our main roadmap was it should be community led. And community involvement is the must here. And the second is addressing climate emergency with these tools. And third is how these tools can help community in municipal budgetary allocations. And ultimately, if the budgetary allocation done, then what are the adaptations and mitigations have done with the urban core settlements. So these are the things. These are the roadmaps for a urban resilient settlement or urban resilient slum. So what are the gains from the tools? Basically, if we see these 3 tools, the climate change matrix tools, basically understanding if we see the short-term goal and a long-term goal. If we see the short-term goal, understanding and identifying climate emergency, what is the climate emergency? The community members are not understanding what is the climate emergency. They can understand something that is too much hot or too much cold, but exactly what is climate emergency, they are not very clear about this. Then a matrix will come after the exercise, and a climate action plan, totally communicated, will come after this exercise. And in the long-term aspect, if you see a commitment to address climate emergency through collective actions by slum youth, women, and others. The youth have a commitment that we have to do something. We have to address climate emergency through our effort. And priority to climate emergency municipal budget. How we can prioritize a municipal budgetary allocation in aspect to climate change emergency. In case of second tool, the Java disaster risk reduction tool, the immediate gain is that understanding and identifying the hazard vulnerability capacity in the settlement. Even the community members are not very much aware about what is the vulnerability, what is the capacity within the urban code settlements. And then evacuation map, which will come after the exercise, and the evacuation map of the slum, and the evacuation map of the institutions, and the mitigation plan, which will come after the exercise. Then, if we see the long-term gain, then a commitment within the slum community that to address the disaster risk, maybe natural, maybe man-made, through pre, during, and post-emergency responses by the slum basically. And then priority disaster preparedness in municipal budgetary allocation. Then the third tool comes, the climate change impact on gender, this is totally focused on gender. So basically, if you see the short-term goal, that understanding and identifying gender issues due to climate change, and then a gender-sound climate action plan, which will totally communicate, which will come after the exercise, and a commitment within the community to prioritize climate emergency on gender in municipal budgetary allocation. So in these three tools, the main aim is how to mobilize municipal budgetary allocation, how to give priority to the climate emergency municipal budgetary allocation through the tools. Then, what is the guideline to apply these tools? First, the tool exercise should be undertaken with some selected proactive persons in the community through HGD. Focus group discussion, inclusion of the least and vulnerable community persons like elderly, pregnant women like this should be within the participants list during the exercise. Participants should avoid incidences of personal biasness or to extend as much as possible. The data from the tool exercise is very much pure, hence it should be prioritized for municipal budgets. And then the primary data that's generated from the tool, and it will be cross-checked with the secondary data, the data which are in the ward offices, meaning with the officials. And the role of the person selected to lead the tool exercise is very much significant in that he or she should follow the common consensus and should collect the data as reported, directed, or prioritized by the community in the tool exercise. खुद का creativity मत दिखाए. We will. It should be do that. What the community will be a good listener and will be a good presenter within the maps. So basically, when the tool started, which time? So basically the outreaches, we started 2017. We piloted this tool in Bhubaneswar, urban disaster risk reduction tool. Climate change matrix tool was piloted in Raipur 2018, and climate change impact of data tool was piloted in Delhi 2022. And now these tools are successfully implemented within 13 cities, 260 slums. Now I'm coming to climate matrix, climate change matrix tool. This is totally driven by community, basically, especially the youth group and the women. So if we see a cell, because this is a matrix, so the matrix is comprised of a lot of cells. So if we see a cell, so the cell that is we have to we can divide this cells with a scale like this. So if it is more low, then the scale must be in the low edge, and if it is a moderate, then the scale must be in the middle edge, and if it is a high value, then the scale must be in the upper edge. So this is totally a assumption. This is not very much scientific and very much data-based. This is totally the assumption, totally the understanding of the community, not very much scientifically viable, but it's totally community. So observation is that extreme summer. So we will ask community first that what are the situations you are facing due to this extreme climate? क्या बदलाव आए हैं पर्यावरण में? So then they will say that now we are facing extreme summer, बहुत गर्मी हो गया है. So if it is extreme summer, then please graph what is the status in the last 50 years. So we have calculated the last 50 years situation. So it's 1980 to 1990, then 1990 to 2000, then 2010, then 2020. So they are saying that during 1980 and 90s, it was not very much high, but if, after this 2000, it's become very high. So this graph is like this. They prepared this graph, and it's a very highly vulnerable situation from 2000, because there is the limit is there. The limit crossed the extreme summer crossed the tolerable limit of the people. So they give this is in high value, and in 2000 it's a moderate value. So basically, this is the understanding of the community. So in the same way, they are preparing the graph of rainfall, they are preparing the graph of extreme winter, preparing the graph of what is the status of birds and animals in your locality, the decrease of diseases and infections, the waterlogging, fogs, these all the observations coming by from the community. So we're just facilitating the things. We do not force them that what is the situation, tell me like this during the waterlogging, so what is the extreme summer. We do not ask them to do this. These are all come from the brain of the community. And they are preparing this drafts with their understanding that what are the situation like this in the current situation. And of course, the FGD will comprised of the youth group, leaded by youth group, but the FGD will attended by youth, women, elderly people, khas karke 1980 ka information chahiye. So the people who are who are in 1980 in the cities, so they must be present in the FGD. And if we say the reason, what is the reason? The people say that maybe deforestation, concretization of the city, because city there was no such ground in the city. Everywhere it's concretization, either in road, either in the industry, whatever it is. Then emissions highly focused, and then plastic and polythene issues, suppressions of surface water bodies, industrialization, urbanization, wastage of the water. So these are the things. This is totally common. It's a very colorful thing so that community can get interest and they can participate. This is the entire very simple tool, and just embrace the interest and just the understanding to the climate emergency. And after this tool, they will come to this climate action plan, totally community-led. So they say that the plan must be awareness. So how they will raise the awareness? Like this way, that they will do this FGD through this climate change matrix and inclusion. Then maybe the promoting afforestation with planting awareness and convergence for planting some trees within the cities. Then promoting judicious use of groundwater through campaign and advocacy, regularizing waste management services, advocacy with the local municipality, and sensitization events like this. Restoring biodiversity, maybe promotions of bird posts, kitchen garden plantations within their household premises like this, and controlling plastics and polythene bags. So these are the things. These are the very important. As they understood that if it's a climate emergency, so these things must be addressed, and they planned as per the things. This is the plan of actions, and this is the prioritization will give that which one we will do first and which one we do second, we do third. This is the prioritization column, and in the first quarter of the year, which one will play. In the second quarter, the third quarter, and fourth quarter, what things will play. So this is the climate change matrix. Now we are coming in the second tool, that is urban disaster risk reduction tool. So the urban disaster risk reduction tool is comprised of some HVCA tools, mean hazard voluntary capacity assessment tools. There are 8 tools: seasonal calendar, historical analysis, voluntary mapping, capacity, voluntary matrix, capacity matrix, hazard matrix, institutional analysis, stakeholder analysis, transit work. And these are all these tools very much in aspect to climate change and disaster. And then mapping and the planning tool is the evacuation map of the slums, evacuation map of slum institutions, ready reckoner, emergency numbers, and the mitigation plan. So if we see the links, so basically seasonal calendar, this is the seasonal calendar, Jan to December. And then what are the hazards you are facing with continuous rain, flood, waterlogging? These are the some hazards given here, and these are some are making others that it will help community to think, to understand what is the things, and they will come back with their answers. Then human diseases, malaria, diarrhea, and some are others. Occupation, migration, immigration like this, and others. Main food availability, festivals, unemployment, and alternative, seasonal unemployment and alternative income security, debt like this. So this is the seasonal calendar in aspect to different disasters or climate change issues, extreme climate events. Then historical analysis, this is from 19 to 2018. So from Jan to December, which year, which month they are facing extreme climate events. So this is the historical analysis. Then vulnerability matrix. This is the matrix. That is, there are two different categories. One is population, vulnerability in population. The second is vulnerability in the infrastructure. The third is yeah, these are the things. Then population. If you see the population, basically the vulnerable people are PWDs, children up to 6 years, pregnant women, lactating women, seriously, elderly like this. So total vulnerable population, that will come the percentage within the slum. So this is the population-based vulnerability assessment, and the infrastructure-based vulnerability available in the household with kacha makan, household suffering with without potable water, household suffering without sanitation, household suffering without electricity, household having tapping electricity, household located in waterlogged area. So these are the indicators which can assess the vulnerability, the infrastructure vulnerability in the slum. So total household suffering, here we will given this figure and the total number of households within the slum. The total percentage is 34%. For example, the 34% of Panchamaka. So this 34% of the families are totally infrastructure in aspect to their vulnerable in aspect to their household Maka. Their household suffering without potable water, 66% is suffering with this. Then capacity matrix. If you see the capacity matrix, so what are the capacities based on the population? That is teenager are there, sports persons are there, medical persons are there, influential persons are the government employees are the construction workers, laborers are there. So these are the number of total families where these persons are belonging, and then required number of the gap. What is the gap behind this? Basically, if suppose if we have 115 families with sports person, but we need 120 families where sports persons are required, because sports persons are very much active during this emergency responses. So the gap is only 5. We need more 5%. So what are the plan to minimize this gap? Maybe capacity building to other persons, or maybe within the slum, or maybe taking support from the neighboring slum. So these are the things which are coming from the community. What are the requirements basically as per in aspect to the population capacity of the population, and what is the gaps, and how do we make up this gap? Then infrastructure, pakka makan, high-rise buildings, community toilet, tube well, temple, mosque, club, culvert, slice gate, like this. So these are the things, the same things as the earlier, that what is the requirement, and how many structures are required, and right now how many structures are there, and how we can minimize these gaps. Then we come to the hazard factors. So name of the hazards, responsible factors behind that. What is the responsible factors? For example, if the hazard is flood, then if we thinking about the damage, the destruction during the flood situation, so mainly the kacha houses, mainly no drains and or distorted drains, no lying area, no early warning system, no culvert or a distorted culvert, no sluice gate like this. And prioritizations, that is within the FGD, probably 60% says that kacha houses is the main responsible factors for this, the damage and distortion during the flood situation. So this is the hazard matrix where we can understand that which one is the more important factor which is responsible for the distortion of the slums due to the floods. Then we are coming to the institutional analysis. These are the institutions within the slums. So the number of the institutions, how many are there, what is the distance for the slum, and the relationship is with the slum members, the good or not good. Then participants, how many males are going there, how many females are going there, how many transgenders are going there, and then availability of the services during general availability service milta hai ki nahi generally, and if it is an emergency situation, so what is the situation during emergency and post emergency, and even immediately a couple of hours or couple of days pre-emergency after the early warning. So these are the things of institutional analysis, and then a transit work will walk the overall village. Any aspect to our climate change, for example, the lack of back doors in most of the households we observe, and no windows in the back. Why it is needed? Because if we got slum fire, then we must evacuate. So we need a back door, or we need a back window, but nothing is there. Then lack of staircase in the outside of the building or emergency escape. So this is the thing. And the secondary observation is maybe some related to the departments, related to the local duty bearers. For example, community members have not created a rapport with the schools authorities, so as they will not, they could not use the school building as emergency shelter during the emergency. And the stakeholder analysis, these are departments and their prioritizations, which departments is very highly prioritized to play a good role during the emergency situation. And the model is these are the community link. So these are 8 tools which we can understand from this vulnerability mapping tools. Now again come to the presentation. Now the mapping tools. Now this is there are two different maps, evacuation maps. One is evacuation map of the slum and the evacuation map of the slum institution. So this is the evacuation map of the slum. Basically, how to evacuate if any emergency comes. For example, if any cyclone comes, if any fire comes, slum fire happens, if any flood, waterlogging happens. These are the red color arrowhead. These are the evacuation route, and these are the routes where from and fire truck, maybe an ambulance can enter the slum. So these are drawn and wall painted within the slums, each and every slums by the community itself. And these are the legends. So what are the things presenting here? And then if you saw the institutional evacuation of, this is the Mandir temple. So this is the main gate. So this is the way to evacuate. This is the lane. So they are coming to this lane if fire or if anything emergency happens. Then this is the ready reckoner of emergency contacts, and this must be in all the slum walls. In the in the slums in the walls, so that emergency, because it's also the logo is there, so that illiterate person can understand the numbers, can know the numbers, and they can tag if any emergency happens. Then the key points. So basically, mitigation plan is another very important tool for UTRR. So mitigation plan, there are some key points which must be there in the mitigation plan. Name and contact number of the members of the slum disaster preparedness committee. Name and contact number of the slum task force team. There are at least 4 task force team within each slum, maybe first aid team, search and rescue team, early warning team, emergency center action management teams. Then evacuation responsibility. So who take the responsibility during the evacuation if any emergency happens within the slum? Then mock drill responsibilities and a mock drill plan. Then pre, during and post disaster tasks to the task force team. What are the pre, during and post disaster tasks? Clearly defined within the mitigation plan for the task force team, and the list of serious hazards to be eliminated. What are the serious hazards? For example, there is a tea stall. It's a very serious hazard because tea stall with fire, so it can be a possibility of slum fire. So what are the serious hazards must be identified. It is written in the mitigation plan and must be eliminated. List of the emergency equipments, what the emergency equipments are there, and who takes the responsibility to use this emergency equipment during the emergency. And then list of the family level preparedness and responsibilities, list of the community level preparedness, who takes the responsibilities, then contingency plan, alternatives. If task force team, one of the task force team member got injured during the evacuation or rehabilitation, so what is the alternative for this case? Then list of the local authority to coordinate with this plan. Who are the local authorities who will from them will be immediately support, and the list of the capacity building trainings. What are the trainings required? So this must be a mitigation plan. After preparation of this mitigation plan, this must be handed over to the local areas, municipalities, and the departments, so that they can aware about of the things and their roles. That this is the mitigation plan of a slum, and we must be engaged with this, because in this part, that is the role and responsibilities part, their roles also be very much clear about this, that which departments will do what the things will do. So these are the things. So this is mitigation plan. Now the third and the last tool, that is climate change impact assessment tool of gender. So if we see this tool properly, this is basically a tool which can assess the impact of gender, only the impact of gender on climate change, due to the climate change. So basically, if we see, we can do this, we apply this tool in 5 groups. One is for men, another is women, another is elderly, another is adolescent girl, another is adolescent boys. There are 5 different groups in each slum. So we can act same as FGD. So we can take 10 to 15 good speakers from the slums, and then we will do this FGD. Then there are different cells here. If you see the tool, that is climate situation in the year. So if it is extreme climate situation period, if you see this. So if there are 2 categories, we will assess what is extreme climate situation, what are the things, and what are the things for without extreme climate situation. That's a normal situation, usual situation. So if we see the extreme climate situation, the months, we will ask them what's the months, which month in a year you are suffered with extreme climate crisis. Then what are the natural hazards faced by you during this extreme climate? Is it a flood? Is it a cyclone? Is it a heat wave or colder? What is the things? So we can understand this month's cell from the community with these questions. And then we'll come to the next part that changes in the daily life. So the daily life is categorized in 3 different sections. One is what is daily, what are the challenges they are facing in daily household, during daily household chores, what are the challenges they are facing in their livelihood and study during extreme climate situation, and what are the challenges they are facing during daily self-activity and other things during extreme climate situation. So if we say, ask them that what are the tasks undertaken by you in daily household chores during extreme climate crisis, मतलब जब फ्लड होता है तो तब क्या क्या हाउसहोल्ड काम, हाउसहोल्ड चोर्स आपको करना पड़ता है. Then they will express their things, express their feelings, express their figures, I mean, maybe tangible, maybe intangible, whatever. So everything we will note it down. And then after this, we will analyze that if the task in household chores are clearly defined, identified, and noted and analyzed gender issues from this note, and then how they are faced in their daily household chores due to this climate change event. So this is the things, the same thing we will do for the livelihood and study, for the daily self-activities and other things. For example, in Delhi, we will apply this in the slum, in one of the Delhi slum. Then the women say that the water is a very difficult challenge, or a very high challenge for them, because drinking water is not adequate. They do not access the drinking water during the summer times. That is a heat wave days. And so this is their feelings, this is their understanding from this, and we will note it down everything. And if we say that why you are facing these challenges, then they are saying that because water is our responsibility only, because our male members of the family do not want to take this responsibility, because if we are connected with the kitchens, because women are connected with the kitchen things, so water is totally entire responsibility of women. So this is the main gender bias things. Why don't men are not participating in this? Why this is the only responsibility of women? So this is the gender bias thing. We have to identify from their expressions, from their body language, from their statements, from their posture, gesture, something like this. In one FGD, one women just cried because they are saying when we are asking about their self activity, so they are asked that they spend a lot of time due to their very weak menstrual health support, because they have no sanitary pad. They are not using this app because the sanitary pad is not accessible for them, and their husbands are because they are not very much open to discuss these things with their husband. This was analyzed from a remote village of a Borpeta district in the Brahmaputra environment. So this is the thing. This is very important things, very important information we can collect from this. If we see their posture, gesture, their statement, their impressions, everything is very much important during this FGD, if we understand the gender issues for this. So this is the thing, and apart from this, we will take some information if there is any traditional cooking practices, and if they practice this traditional cooking practices, what are the things and how they help this traditional cooking practices helps them, and what are the action points, what are the things, what the women think that what are the action points must be there to minimize the gender issues, to minimize the gender pains, and to have a good gender sound action plans for the budgetary allocations. So this is the tool, very important tool, which we can understand the gender issues, the pathetic gender situation, either in the slums or it can be used in the villages also. And the same thing will be draw if the normal situation is there is no climate emergency there. So if we can also get a lot of gender issues when no climate emergency is there. So this is the tool which can assess the climate change impact on gender. So then come back to the presentation. So these are the tools which I am discussing here. So here the links are given here. And no more for today because it's a very heavy thing. So you know that the tools is not very easy, I understand. And in one session, this tools discussion of this is a little bit heavy. So thank you, I mean, to give me this opportunity. So yeah.
Thank you, Proshin. It has really been a technical section with codes, and it has been a bit heavy too. You looked at climate change vulnerability in the climate emergency in the urban context, especially with regard to slums. You have shared tools and guidelines which can be used at the community level for developing climate action plans, especially in the context of slums. Friends, it has been a very power-packed sections since morning. Due to the paucity of time, we could not, our presenters who are technical experts had to rush through their presentations. However, we will be sharing the inputs they have shared, share also the presentations they have presented today. Friends, now I will open the section for question and answers. Our speakers are comfortable, very much comfortable in Hindi. Proshin and Gidiga are good at Bengali too. So you have wide choices with you. Kindly ask questions, and I will engage Jayanta also to continue with the section further.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Anilji. It's very, very enriching. And let us invite the questions. And also, if you are not able to ask, also you can write in the chat box. We'll monitor that your questions so that we can make it reach to the panelists. So, is there anybody who can ask the questions? Any doubts, clarification?
Jayanta sir?
Yes, please.
This is Ajit from Bihar, Patna. My question is that Lokmanch is working here in 7 districts in Bihar, and mostly our interventions are with landless people. They are mainly residing in the near village, outside the village, near canals and all this. So as we take this climate change as one of the major activities in our Bihar, Lokmanch Bihar, so we find very difficult to make them understand that they are the vulnerable ones. So what are the things we can do as a vulnerability mapping? So maybe some of the process or some of the tools if you can share.
Proshin,
Yeah.
would like to come in?
Yeah. Actually, before preparing the tool, there must be a rapid rural appraisal, rapid rural assessment like this, where we can go rapidly, just see the village, and then we can talk to the community. What are their requirements? What is their challenges? Then we prepare a tool to assess the vulnerability matrix. Like this is very synchronized with the vulnerability matrix, which I have shown in my presentations. And not only vulnerability matrix, also we will do the capacity matrix simultaneously. Otherwise, we cannot assess the vulnerabilities, because not only vulnerability is the main point. The main point is also capacity. So if I have capacity, and if I have 5 capacity and I have 10 vulnerabilities, so how we can enhance our capacity to cope with 10 vulnerabilities? So this is the things we have to do. So These are the homework we have to do before we go with the tool within the community.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to add here, Anil, if I can.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Thank you for this question. I think very relevant. First of all, that community doesn't understand the climate change and they don't know they are most vulnerable. I think the first thing, if we really talk them in this language, this is difficult for them. But if we talk with them in their language, I think they, in my experience, I see they know much more than what we do. I mean, our experience comes from their experience. So the first thing I think we need to see about, asking them their problem and asking them what was there like 30 years or 40 years back in that area and what they are missing. So many cases in West Bengal, I have seen, and also in Bundelkhand, I have seen the housewife, even they said, not the climate change word, but they said कि मिट्टी का रस जो है सूख गया. They said पहले हम लोगों में जितनी मतलब गर्मी जितना था अब उससे ज्यादा हो गया, मतलब टेम्परेचर बढ़ गया. Then they say पहले हम लोग खाली पैर जो है चल सकते थे एग्रीकल्चर फील्ड में, अब वो बड़ा मुश्किल है, which is basically कि soil moisture dried up, which is temperature increased, which is sometimes they say कि हम जो है बिना कुछ सर ढक के चल नहीं सकते हैं. तो this is all showing that that heat increased and that's basically climate change. Due to this happens. तो एक तो वो है कि you need to talk to the local language and ask them what is the problem that they are facing and what was the problem, what was there in those areas 30 years back, 40 years back, 50 years back, something, and उससे वो they will understand कि क्या changes आया है. दूसरा, if you talk about landless people, so I would like to really know कि what exactly you are working, which of the sector that you are working with them, because they are landless, so I feel like they don't do agriculture, or maybe they are agriculture laborer not having their own agriculture land. If I understand that clearly, maybe then I can say that what we can really work with them, what type of work we can do.
Yeah, ma'am. They are mainly the landless workers. They don't have any land, so they go in others land to work.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So I think then in that case, the agriculture, they are basically then laborers and they are getting their wages. It might happen for them that they are not getting enough number of working days in the village, and that's why they are moving out and migrating. Maybe that is one issue, and that's an issue of climate change, and they become climate refugees. So I mean, we can talk much on this, and yeah.
Thank you. Then Sister Mercy.
Yes.
Sister Mercy Azraja.
Yeah. So our problem is like we are working with the fishing community here in Trivandrum. And the fishing community is faced with natural calamities and man-made calamities. So natural calamities, now the recurring cyclones, one after another it is coming, and also sea is very rough and the sea level, water level has increased. There is sea erosion and houses are demolished because it washed away with the rising water. And added to that, the constructions, illegal constructions are happening in the seashore. Also, mining is happening and sand mining. All these are all happening, and India is a signatory in the treaty. But then, how far we can work in this situation here in Trivandrum or in the coastal areas? That's my question. People lose their livelihood and they are not able to get into the sea at times. Another thing is the fish resources in the sea also is reduced. So these are all affecting the lives of the people.
Anil, can you please ask everyone to mute who is not talking? I think
Yeah,
there are a
some
lot of
background noise is coming in.
yeah.
Please mute your mics.
Could you get, ma'am? My
Sister,
question?
can you please repeat the question again? Because
Yeah. This is our problem is like we are working with the fishing community and we don't have a solution before them because the government also is adding to their difficulties.
Who is real? Just I put it. Yeah.
Please mute it.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
So every year the seawater level is rising and there is recurring cyclones. It's all we can attribute to the climate change, but people are not aware of it. However, we say also they will go to the sea and they are depending on the sea for their livelihood. So now recently what are happening is like illegal constructions and big ports are on the seashore, plus mining, sand mining is happening. So it is an added destruction of the nature and causing problem to the traditional fish workers. They are losing their job, they are losing their houses, they are losing their identity. So this is the condition where we are working. So our problem is how as a Lockbench partners together we can make an effective our presence effective among the people to resist this natural global warming and to take precautions.
Prashuni, you will take that question or maybe I can.
actually, first, situation analysis is very important in this. What is the current situation? And what is their understanding? That is the problem you have said, the problem statement. But what is the solution the community is expected from us? That is very important because for example, if we say that fishermen must do some alternative livelihood. So this is not the solution because their bread and butter is fishing. So
yes.
Some people will, some people do not want to do something other, doing something other which is different than fishing. So what is the solution? What are they thinking that how they can address these challenges? So first we need a very important discussion with them, and then with the local beauty bearers, local departments, 9 departments, and then a discussion with them if we can make some joint workshop. And simultaneously, if we say a good network, we can produce some good network, good alliance with this issue, highlighting this issue, because there are a lot of NGOs, there are a lot of CSOs working with fishermen community in the same area. So if we can come with the same platform and with a good networking we will do, and then we can together in a group we can go to the duty bearers, for example, any departments, maybe in a local admin representative or maybe any good resource person, so that they can understand there must be some solution. We discuss the negotiation with them. This is the thing. And apart from this, I'm not sure about this, but this is just my only thinking that how much is mangrove sustainable in this area, because you know that after this COP28, there is a big alliance regarding this COP 27, there is a big alliance formed with regarding the mangrove sensitivity. And even our central ministry is also very much interested in this. So if the area is suitable for mangrove plantation, and if we see that 50 years, 60 years, or maybe 100 years before there was a mangrove plantation area, mangrove patch, then we can regenerate this mangrove and replenishment this mangrove patch, so that the erosion problem and the embankment bridge problem is come down. So this is the input from my end. Over to Deepika.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you, Prasun. Yeah, I think you have actually touched all of these points. So first of all, I would also just emphasize on this, the repeated cyclone. Now the NBS, the nature-based solution, is a mangrove plantation or reforestation or regeneration of mangrove. I think that's that doesn't really require a lot of infrastructure, but it's just required communities to also communities can get some kind of livelihood for that, for the mangrove regeneration. And I think that's one of the best case example. Several places along the river, along the coast, in Orissa, Sundarban and other areas, there's been happening. So which is best proven technology for the coastal cyclone and erosions. The other thing is, I think, as Prashun also mentioned about the diversifying livelihoods, I think that's very much important. Lot of different institutes, agriculture and fisheries institute, they are working on different varieties of salt water, varieties of fish, seedlings. That's a come up. Calcutta is one. They are working in Sundarban a lot, the Agriculture and Fisheries Institute. So maybe that's we can have a kind of a network where academicians and the local government, NGOs, and the communities come together, discuss about the problem. And there are several, very successful pilots is being there across the country. Just that we cannot connect that. So these are kind of a forum where we can actually connect and where a very good example is there, and how can we learn from one and another. So I think that's how, sister, we can solve a bit of those issues of the local community.
That is true. We are also in that process. Now it has to be wide enough to resist the plans of the government to support the multinationals and corporates to start building the constructions, illegal constructions, and that causes more difficulties on people, adding to the natural global warming. So that is what surely that networking and putting our effort together can help us. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
So shall I come in?
Paisali. No, okay. Paisali is there.
Father Matthew
Paisali. Okay. Father, can you just hold on? Paisali has raised the, please.
Sure.
Paisali, madam.
In Raigad district, Maharashtra, we have a 12% of the tribal population, and among them is are the PVT. So, some challenges with them. PVTs used to do the Zoom cultivation previously, and that all Zoom cultivation used to be on the forest land. So, in spite of they being a forest right claimant now and filing the claim also, what we see a trend in them is giving up the upland and giving up the upland cultivation. And now we see that in the families with the children's diet, especially women and children's diet, there are no millets, there are no tubers. So, I mean, this the reason why it is so is very clear that now it is becoming extremely difficult to do the upland cultivation. Lot of labor is required. Secondly, the cattle grazing is also not controlled, and that's also one of the problem. And then landslides and erosion makes it little difficult. And on top of it, we have a Antyodaya periods in which the PV teachers get 35 kg of the ration. So like it is 2 rupees, 3 rupees, now it is free. 35 kg of grains are available there. So there is no urge of having the upland cultivation. And then it directly has an impact on the health of the women, children, and the whole community. So we are finding it little difficult to really motivate, inspire them to come to the upland cultivation.
So what's the question then?
The question is, how do we tackle this challenge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Dr. Anjali around? Dr. Anjali?
No, I think she's not here.
Gidiga and Proshin, you want to comment?
Yeah. So I think this is some of these issues we are facing everywhere. This, as you mentioned about the upland cultivation and the millets and the tubers and all, I think this now become an issue where the political leaders are also kind of aware of. And as you know, there's this year government has already started a mission, or millet mission, and it's the name is something very Sri or no, something that millet mission has started. I think that would really push from the top end to motivate people to come for this millet cultivation. And the Zoom cultivation, I really didn't understand that what you are saying. The Zoom is continuing, that's a problem. And many cases, it is continuing, but in a very less intensity, right? Or what is there in Raika? I didn't find that connection.
Traditionally, they had been doing a Zoom cultivation, and then it was for the millets. For the millets, basically for the millets. Trend is
लेकिन आपको भी थोड़ा बोलते ना है.
So the larger percentage of the PVTGs are giving up cultivation, whether it is Zoom, upland, whatever it is, but they are giving up upland cultivation.
And they're going out for another migrate, or they're doing
Because,
that?
Yeah, because it's very easy to get regular and assured wages on the construction. So they are happy to work with the contractors, they are happy to work with the builders. They are happy to migrate, but get something very assured cash in the hand.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I mean, this phenomena is all across, entire country, and the kind of urbanization which is happening, and you need a lot of labor for this. And it's also people can actually saw that, working in a construction sector, the wage is much better than if you are working in the agricultural land. So it is a very much automatically the new generation is just going out and migrating. I think one way which I feel is very important in West Bengal, we have seen the result that the men are all going out from the villages for working in the in cities for the labor, but the women are still there and the aged people are still there in the village. So if we kind of start this millet work on this millet and other agriculture crops and alternative livelihood, some other thing, maybe goatry, some poultry and those with only the women member of the families, I think probably you are already doing that. And which, if this main member can see that, yes, this is profitable and the women member are getting really hard cash in their hands, and they are managing, that can only, pull them again to the village. And in case of West Bengal, in Bankura, Purulia district, there are examples where the husband then stayed back with his wife and started doing this 3-4 types of livelihood. Earlier they used to have one crop. Now they are getting with the goat and the poultry and those. They are not only, the women is not only empowered and not only getting hard cash, they become more empowered and they have now say to their families on the decision making, which is the most important part, I feel. when women takes the decision for their behalf of the family, 100% it is really the benefit of the family. So I think these are some of the examples we have to, as I also said, and the sister also agreed, that we have to do some different strategies have to be taken, and also make partnership and network. That's, I think, the motto of today's life. We have to work together, and then only we'll be able to really do and sustain in this world with the current scenario. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Geetika. Neelam?
Yeah, Vaishali ji, I just want to add with Geetika. Basically, you know that we need a climate resilient livelihood. Okay, so today it is climate resilient, but it's not mean that after some years it will be climate resilient. ठीक है, वो नहीं हो सकता है. मतलब आज climate resilient है, but कुछ दिन बाद वो climate resilient. Climate is very much up and down, so changing. So this your situation, I have understood your situation, and I want to send you something if you give me the email ID, because we worked with this PVTG group earlier, IGSS, and IGSS had a good experience in this, and we have a good knowledge product in this. So probably it will help you. So if you give your contact, or maybe I can send Anil, and Anil will send to you. Okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Roshan. Neelam, you have any questions?
हाँ अनिल जी, सभी साथियों को जिंदाबाद। मेरा नाम नीलम पटेल है और मैं प्रतिपद फाउंडेशन से, बनारस से हूँ, यूपी से हूँ। और यूपी कहा जाता है कि सब्जियों के निर्यात के लिए एक बड़ा प्रदेश है, लेकिन जो मेरा बनारस का अनुभव है अभी, वो देख रहे हैं कि धीरे धीरे सब्जियों का जो उत्पाद है वो खत्म होता जा रहा है। वो शायद हो सकता है कि यहाँ की मिट्टी की गुणवत्ता जो है उसमें कमी आ रही है, और जिसकी वजह से सब्जियां नहीं हो पा रही हैं, और लोग धीरे धीरे करके माइग्रेंट हो रहे हैं अलग अलग स्टेट में, अलग अलग जगह पे, या अलग अलग रोजगार में, जिसकी वजह से जो हम लोग ज्यादातर यहाँ पे किसान जो हैं वो खेती करते थे, अब खेती न करके वो अपनी जमीनों को बेच रहे हैं। तो मुझे मेरा एक सवाल था कि जो क्लाइमेट चेंज की वजह से जो सब्जियों पे प्रभाव पड़ रहा है, जो खेतों में आधा से ज्यादा सब्जियां खराब हो जा रही हैं, या तो फिर समय के हिसाब से वो नहीं हो पा रही, तो ऐसा क्या हम कर सकते हैं, उसका क्या समाधान है कि जो किसान खेती कर रहा है और जो सबसे ज्यादा सब्जियों पे ही उसका पूरा परिवार डिपेंड है, एक तरह से उसकी पूरी आजीविका है वो, तो हम उसको कैसे एक सॉल्यूशन दे सकते हैं कि उसकी सब्जियां और अच्छी हो, और जो क्लाइमेट का जो एक असर उनके सब्जियों पे दिख रहा है वो खत्म किया जा सके। तो ये मेरा सवाल था।
गीतिका जी, आप शुरू करेंगे?
I think we can. I can. I think all of these questions are very much similar. The migration is an issue, and people are going to cities for earning hard cash. And overall, अगर देखा जाए तो लोगों का जो है cash availability ज़्यादा हो रहा है when they are migrating to the nearby cities. And many cases it's kind of a ripple effect. अगर एक फैमिली में एक बंदा जा रहा है एंड वो ज्यादा अर्न कर रहा है, तो आसपास के जो फैमिलीज है वो भी वही करना चालू कर रहा है, वो भी बोलते हैं कि चलो मुझे भी ले चलो, एंड आई विल आल्सो वर्क, एंड दैट्स अ इशू. एंड आई थिंक व्हाट आई हैव ऑलरेडी सेड टू माय द अर्लियर रिस्पॉन्स, मुझे लग रहा है कि हमें ना स्पेशली वीमेन के साथ काम करना चाहिए. एंड ये जो आप वेजिटेबल कल्टीवेशन का बात कर रहे हैं, एंड वेजिटेबल कल्टीवेशन को अगर if we can really do the different kind of cultivation, अभी तक जो हो रहा था too much production and too much using too much chemical fertilizer, that was last 10-15 years, 20 years, I think that became the trend, and due to that we are really जो मिट्टी का जो उर्वरता है वो बहुत कम होते जा रहा है. एंड एक बार आपको केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर यूज करते हैं तो वो उसकी जो इनपुट कॉस्ट है वो बढ़ते ही जाता है आपको, क्योंकि वो मिट्टी का जो एक्चुअल क्वालिटी है, जो गुणवत्ता है, वो बिल्कुल खराब हो जाता है। तो एक तो है, अगर एंड फार्मर्स को ये पता है, इवन बहुत जगह हमने ये देखा है, फार्मर्स अपने लिए जो करते हैं ना, अपनी फैमिली के लिए, उसमें वो केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर यूज ही नहीं करता है। जो कमर्शियल करते हैं उसके लिए यूज करते हैं। तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि हम अगर बहुत निश एरियाज में कुछ लोगों के साथ हम नेचुरल फार्मिंग का प्रैक्टिस शुरू करें, 1 साल 2 साल, मतलब 1-2 साल तो उसकी जो प्रोडक्शन है वो कम होगा, बट क्वालिटी वाइज वो अच्छा होता जाएगा। एंड अगर हम उसको ऑर्गेनिक धीरे धीरे टोटली ऑर्गेनिक एग्रीकल्चर में कन्वर्ट करें, लोगों का हेल्थ भी अच्छा हो जाएगा। एंड पहला 1-2 साल हाँ आपका थोड़ा लॉसेस होगा बिकॉज प्रोडक्शन कम होगा, but ultimately it will be good for the climate because it is a natural farming. And now सरकार का I think बहुत जरा पुश है इसके लिए, जैविक खेती, उसमें स्प्रिंकलर इरिगेशन, मतलब आपको पानी कम देना है, सोलर इरिगेशन, ये जो लोगों अभी जो स्कीम्स है, बहुत कुसुम स्कीम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम है। ये जो स्कीम्स है, आप अगर इन स्कीम्स के अंडर में maybe you start with only the women members of this in a small village, like maybe 10 village 15 village, थोड़ा सा इसको शुरू करें। आई थिंक 1 साल में नहीं होगा, बट ये 2-3 साल में इसकी जो है अच्छा चीज दिखने लग जाएगा, because it the first 3 years, as I told, it will have the reduction in production, but ultimately the quality of the material would be good. And आजकल तो Amazon में भी और ये सारे उसमें से जो सिटीज के लोग हैं, वो यही चाहते हैं कि मुझे ऑर्गेनिक एग्रीकल्चर मिले। तो कितने दूर दूर से वो लोग जो है ऑर्डर करते हैं। एंड ऐसे बहुत सारे एंटरप्राइज अभी बना है जो बस ये खेती करके निश मार्केट बना के लोगों को ऑनलाइन सप्लाई करके really making a profitable business. Maybe we can kind of think that way. This is what I can only say. Yeah, but we can be having discussion, continue to have this discussion. Thank you.
Just adding to Geetika.
Thank you.
Yeah, just adding to Geetika. Basically, just मेरे जो understanding में जो आया कुछ बहुत important है कि weather forecasting, क्योंकि अभी गवर्नमेंट का लिंक है, गवर्नमेंट का नंबर्स है जहां से आप वेदर एडवाइजरी, आपको एडवाइस मिलेगा, मतलब मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर का, ठीक है। सो वेदर एडवाइजरी उसको फॉलो कीजिएगा, क्योंकि इस साल महाराष्ट्र में भी ऐसा हुआ कि जब बारिश हो रहा था तब बारिश नहीं हुआ, तो पीछे चला गया, 2-3 महीना पीछे चला गया, इसलिए उन लोगों का बहुत सारे क्रॉप डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया। तो वेदर एडवाइजरी को प्लीज फॉलो कीजिए, अर्ली वार्निंग भी आएगा यहाँ से, ठीक है। और उसको सिर्फ फॉलो नहीं, मतलब गांव में लोगों को, मतलब फार्मर्स को वो इंटीमेट करना पड़ेगा कि दिस इज द प्रोसेस एंड दिस इज द थिंग्स यू कैन गेट द इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम दिस, सो दैट दे कैन अपडेटेड विद दिस थिंग्स। नंबर 1। नंबर 2 है कि कुछ मल्टी क्रॉपिंग, मतलब जब आप कीजिएगा एक ही क्रॉप मत कीजिएगा, 4-5 क्रॉप एक ही खेती में करना इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि एक के ऊपर डिपेंड करने से क्या होगा, सब खत्म हो गया, एक खत्म हो गया तो गया। तो यू हैव टू मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस। एंड द अनदर इज वन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री मॉडल इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें एक साथ होता है, उसमें हॉर्टिकल्चरल चीज होता है, सिल्वीकल्चरल चीज होता है, आपका वेजिटेबल्स होता है, बहुत सारी चीज एक साथ आ जाता है। तो इसमें क्या होगा कि आपका ऑल्टरनेटिव वे मिल जाएंगे, एक खत्म हुआ, एक बर्बाद हो गया तो दूसरे से आपका चल जाएगा। सो दीज आर द थिंग्स, सम स्ट्रेटजीज व्हिच यू कैन फॉलो। या थैंक यू।
Thanks, Gitika. The question?
No, Father Matthew, please. Yeah.
Matthew Arthel, working among the tribals in Attapadi, Palghar district, Kerala. First of all, I congratulate the resource persons who presented very scientifically, systematically, at the same time with the practical applications and the case studies. And Mr. Anil moderating the whole thing very well. we have in Kerala 3 units. One unit of local bench working among the coastal people, fishermen. That is about which Sister Mercy mentioned. Actually, it is a sea erosion also added by the construction of the international port, Vizhinjam, which is called Vizhinjam port, against which the fishermen in the south had a very long agitation, about 2 months agitation, including the church, and it was all suppressed. It is Adani groups which builds the construct the a port, international port. Now the other 2 groups are working among the tribals. The one unit here in Palakkad, the other one in Wayanad. So now I am speaking about the tribals. They had actually many of them do not have land. Those who have land, they are not of good quality, and therefore their traditional cultivation, especially millet, ragi, and other things, are not much now popular. Therefore, they are in a dire need. So also in Wayanad, they are not able to live on the cultivation, traditional cultivation they had. The Kerala government has started the millet encouraging the millet cultivation, but it remained at the experimental level, especially in Palakkad, in Waterpadi. In Wayanad also, it was not there. Now, therefore, the tribals, what we are facing is tribals are not able to understand their problem of cultivation and so on in the light of the climate change. Recently, we had a talk with the collector of the place. She was totally unaware of this one. They should not understand how the climate change could be part of the problems of the tribal people. And therefore, make the tribal people understand the connection between the climate change and their livelihood, especially the agriculture, is a problem we are facing. And I am just posing that one. I am not seeking solution as such, but then the problem, I'm posing the problem. Okay.
Thank you, Father Matthew. And any response from our experts, Gidiga and Proshin?
I think he already mentioned that he doesn't need a solution because he is well aware of this situation. I think one thing we have to do with for this understanding, tribals are not able to understand the issues of the climate change and how it is related to livelihood problem. I think one thing is very important is that capacity development, which is now the need of the hour. So this is important, even if the government has all those schemes on millet mission and all those schemes, and those millets are part of their livelihood, the tribal community's livelihood, like two decades back or maybe 3 decades back. I think we have to somehow instill the confidence into the farmers with continuous interaction with them. Give them maybe it is also good if we take them and give them an exposure visit, maybe nearby wherever it is doing, wherever farmers are coping up or the fishermen are coping up and those problems. I think if they can, peer-to-peer learning is much more important rather than a top-down approach. So maybe these are five, 6 strategies that we can take up to make people understand the climate issues and how to cope up with that. And I think these farmers and the fisher folk, they know their area much more than what we know. And if they just get the exposure, I think their capacities will be built and they very easily will will understand. Just we need little bit of time to continuous engagement with them and do kind of campaign, awareness generation, capacity development to exposure visit, training, and so on. I think we will be able to manage a bit, but I know you are on the ground and you know much better than me. So it's just what my experience in different areas, that's what I am sharing.
Yeah, I have a.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just very quickly with Gitika.
I'm Suresh.
Yeah, just very quickly with Gitika that I think we can prioritize the traditional knowledge. If they have, I understand that they have a lot of traditional knowledge, so they have the. What was before 50 years when there was no climate change? So then this is the thing. And the second is, I think that climate change science, we have to demystify the climate change science today. जिस भाषा में वो लोग समझता है क्या क्लाइमेट चेंज है, उनके लिए गर्मी है, बहुत ज्यादा ठंडी है, बहुत ज्यादा बाढ़ है, क्या है, जिस भाषा में वो लोग समझता है उस भाषा में ही समझना पड़ेगा. So this is the thing. Nothing is difficult. Everything is simple for us. So this is the thing.
Yeah, I have a question.
Please introduce yourself, Suresh.
Yeah, I am Suresh from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana states. We are working with the Adivasis. They are from Chhattisgarh. They are migrated to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. They are living in deep reserve forests. Almost 45 villages are there. Government is recognizing them. They are the citizen of Andhra Pradesh. One thing. Secondly, they don't have any land rights. They are cultivating for the food only, but they don't have any land rights. And government is not allowing them to construct even the toilets. They don't have a road facilities, transportation, everything. In the recent days, government is harassing them to Kali Karna hai. So the place. This is the situation of thousands of Adivasis in Andhra Pradesh. So how to tackle this issue? Is there any networks or with the climate change? How can we work with this? Even the government is not issuing the caste certificate for them. So they are not able to go for higher studies, even intermediate also. That is a very, very big challenge for the Adivasis.
Mr. Suresh, this question is not directly related to climate change.
Yeah.
It's part of the very much larger campaigns which we are already connected with and engaged in. Gitika and Proshin, do you want to comment something?
Actually, almost the same thing is going in slums. If the slum is not authorized slum, then eviction problem is always there. And government will not listen these people. कभी नहीं सुनेगा या सुन रहा. पहले भी ऐसा कोई केस नहीं है जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट सुना है. ठीक है. So basically we have to मतलब I'm not sure कि ये इस मंच में बोलना सही होगा कि नहीं. मतलब we have to make a strong face-to-face effort. Otherwise, we have to build a good, strong network, strong platform in this for a good campaign. That's the thing. Because there is no such solution, there is no such way that we can go. If we go this way, then they will get a land packed up, they will get everything. There is no such solution. So this is the thing from my end. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. I think we can wind up now. Many thanks for the speakers joining us today. Over to Jayendra. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anil. Before proposing for the vote of thanks, I have 2-3 very specific questions which will help us, our partner, to understand this climate change and also how can we collaborate and all. The first question is, what are the government initiatives, particularly to mitigate this climate change or to adapt in the climate change in the particularly vulnerable groups? What are the government? Say, for an example, plantation is one. So what are other schemes and also the policies are there? This is one. Then second question is, can you also help us to design some kind of tools, how to go for this, like a PRA or maybe some kind of mapping tools? So if you can help us in that also, that would be fantastic for us. Then third question is also like a government, do you have any partners or who are the stakeholders that you are working so that our state partners can collaborate with them or can learn each other? As Gitika said, peer learning is the, I mean, the raw experience, the best teacher, or peer learning is very much required. So these are some of the three questions. If you can just respond, that would be great.
Gitika ji, aap shuru kijiye.
Sorry, I got a call and I just missed the questions.
Okay, so first question is, what are the government initiatives to adapt or mitigate this kind of climate vulnerability in the rural area? This is the first question.
Okay. So I think there are, I also in the different, responding to different questions, I mentioned there are several initiatives that government has, I mean, schemes at least government has come up with, but I think that not only announcing a scheme will solve any problem. So one thing is the schemes has to be implemented in a proper manner, and many cases it happens the schemes are only being implemented through the panchayats, and if the panchayats are not really adept enough to implement those schemes, it's really difficult. So the role that we have and the CSOs has is to work with the panchayat and the local government very closely to see that all those schemes really being implemented on ground. They should be reaching to the beneficiaries, I mean, who are the vulnerable communities. So this, as I mentioned, I don't know whether I will be able to mention all name of the all initiatives, but these are very important. This millet initiative which has come up, which is very important with the current scenario of water scarcity problem and the reduction of the rainfall and all. I think that millet mission, Kushum, that's the solar irrigation system which is now being implemented. I think South India a lot. They have already started. Then Jaivik Kheti, that's the organic fertilizer, which are really very good scheme from the point of view of climate change adaptation as well as development. And there are lots of skill development and green skill development that's being happening, and those are that green skill development scheme is basically across the sector, and across the society. So it's from farmers, it's for the farmers, local government, state government official, district officials. So there are several there are under green skill, there are these kind of trainings been happening. And also there are trainings happening not only from the government end, but also from the NGOs, academic institutions, agriculture universities. Those are also like a lot of capacity building training is happening. So I think the main thing is now to disseminate as much as knowledge to among the communities, across the sector, which I think is the need of the hour. One is that once the knowledge being disseminated properly, and if we are knowledgeable, I think half of our problem can be solved that way. If we know where to go, how to do, and where I get support, where I get a training program, which are the new schemes that has come, where I can get this organic thing. Khad is one thing, the Jaivik, we call Jaivik Kheti, but this been traditionally we are using the cow dung. We are using the entire, the waste, the household waste, the kitchen waste into the vermicomposting or the that. I think those are some of these things we have to really focus on now. There are ample things available, just to touch them, just to take them into this. And the first and foremost, I would say, initiative is required from any community agent. If I think that Sarkar will do everything, but even if Sarkar is doing, if I don't go and know what is Sarkar is giving, I won't be able to cope up with, and that is why, I mean, the direct benefit transfer, I mean, I don't know, it is not connecting to the today's discussion, but where we are seeing the direct benefit transfer, it's absolutely the great scheme that the beneficiary is getting the money at their bank account. Now the point is, if we get some money without doing anything, we became really lazy. If we are really very use that money to do the work which is the intent of the government, then it will be very much successful. But we really don't know what the money is being used. If it is for purchasing seed or purchasing the fertilizer or doing some solar irrigation system, then absolutely it's the best thing. But that has to be implemented properly, and that is why monitoring and evaluation is one of the component is very much required. And I think the monitoring evaluation should be done or can be done from the bottom line itself. If the peer is really aware of, then people cannot sit idle and say that government ne kiya nahi, to that's why I'm so much poor. That's my feeling. But it's completely my opinion. There must be counter opinion as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, adding to Geetika ji, basically मैं और तीन चीज ऐड करना चाहता हूँ जो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है. फर्स्टली द वेदर एग्रो एडवाइजरी, जो देयर इज अ line, phone line is there, ठीक है, so helpline is there, so the community, the farmers must be in touch with this contact and this जो भी है, because it's very important that Ministry of Agriculture is a very innovative thing. सेकेंडली के सोलर का ऑलरेडी गीतिका जी ने बोल दिया, आजकल सोलर का बहुत सारे मिशन गवर्नमेंट ने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है. और थर्डली मुझे जो लग रहा है, इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज दैट क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस, बिकॉज जो लॉट ऑफ सुसाइडल केसेस, लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर गोइंग ऑन, सो crop insurance something which we can minimize the impact. So crop insurance is very very important. So this is very couple of things from my end. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question was, do you have any network or do you have any stakeholders you are working with so that our Lokman's team can collaborate in your intervention area?
Jayanta ji, RGSS is working almost 15 states. So in recently, due to the re-amendment of FCRA, IGSS directly implemented everything. There is no such partner of IGSS right now. Yeah. So in the 15 states, we are very actively visible, and we in 6 states we have already done climate consortia. So there are a lot of CSOs, maybe 20-25 active CSOs are in the same platform of this climate consortium. There is in Jharkhand, there is in Odisha, there is in MP, there is in UP. So these are the states where a very active climate consortium is just constructed in last year. So we have a lot of plans to do in this year and the forthcoming days. So of course, our partners, everyone who are presenting climate change, who are doing work in this climate change thing. So we can come in this platform and everything we can share. There is a cross sharing possibilities, there is a advocacy possibilities, networking possibilities, some learning, cross learning possibilities. So these are the things I think we can explore these things together. So it will be a better result and better impact in the next days. Yeah. Over.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So before we move on to the proposed vote of thanks, Father Stani, do you have the last comment or anything?
Well, I must thank our resource persons, Geetika, Roshin, and Anjali, for being with us, for enlightening us to understand deeper, both from different perspective, technically also, and the practical approach to some cases that you presented. I think we are grateful to you. I'm also thankful to Anil for moderating. One thing which is coming, climate change has also socio-cultural and political implications. For example, identity, existence of indigenous and tribal people, cultural aspect is being affected. So that from that perspective, I feel the indigenous knowledge and wisdom, a research could be taken, because indigenous knowledge and wisdom has a sustained nature. The alternative model of sustaining soil conservation, nature conservation, so all this research could also help us in terms of empowering and also better knowledge sharing of indigenous people from their own wisdom and knowledge. That area is also, I feel, need of the hour. So that's my observation. Thank you, Geetika, Roshin, and Anjali for being with us. The session, it is already quite late. So that was my comment. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Father. Now I would like to request Tanpreet, our colleague networking and campaign officer, and Sister Ruby for the vote of thanks. Tanpreet and Sister Ruby. Yeah.
Should I go first? Am I audible?
Yes.
It was a pleasure to have organized this climate change mitigation and adaptation strategy workshop. Special thanks to our thematic experts, Dr. Anjali, Ms. Gitika, and Mr. Proshin for sharing the knowledge and expertise with us. I would also like to thank Mr. Anil, Father Stani, Jayanta sir, and Sister Ruby for all the support and management. And last but not the least, thank you to all the participants for taking out time and being a part of this informative workshop.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. Just I would like to tell our resource persons that 100 of our participants joined through Zoom, and our staff, our field workers have joined through YouTube. They could not come in, they could not keep their ideas, views, but they are watching the live streaming through YouTube. So many of us are getting the benefits from this input sessions. Thanks to our 3 resource persons, and thanks to all of us, our staff and our partners who have joined. And it is going to be 2 o'clock, but still we are here, as will not take much time. Thanks to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy Holi.
Happy Holi.
Thank you all.
Happy Holi to everybody.
Thank you so much.
Happy Pongala. Pongala in Trivandrum.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Johar. Happy Holi.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Zindabad. Sister Ruby, I'm closing the live, ending the live.
Thank you, Ferdinand.
Okay.